So these are my thoughts on Genshin Impact 4.0 coming up in less than 24 hours, or around 24 hours at this point. I have some thoughts about this game as someone who was there first day of the game, and as someone who played all the way through Mondstadt, Liyue, Inazuma, and Sumeru, but severely slowed down in the game in the second half of Sumeru. But, you know, I think everyone takes breaks in this game. Nothing wrong with that. I should start by saying that I'm not recording this audio as I play the game. This is pre-recorded audio, and the gameplay is just there as background play. So, yeah. Although these are gonna be my commissions and other things I'm doing as the last day of 3.x as we leave Sumeru and go into Fontaine. So, you know, this game, it's a good game. I've loved it from the start. I've put a lot of support behind it, given Hoyoverse way more money than I should have. But, you know, no real regrets. I love the game, but I did find myself slowing down in this game around the second half of Sumeru, to the point that really I've missed things that I never would have missed before. I've missed out on tons of Primogems. I've missed out on a couple crowns, probably a couple of free character giveaways. But, you know, there's really only so long that stuff can sustain you, or it's only so long that it can sustain your attention. I mean, after so long, when I have so many constellations on characters, I don't really care about the one little free character giveaway. When I've explored the majority of the map, there's not much else to see. You know, not that much incentive to really just play every day once you get to a point. I mean, I'm level 60. With every character in the game except for maybe 2 or 3, so, and that's 5 stars and 4 stars. I mean, I have a few C6s, 5 stars, that is. You know, I have my Yoimiya, I have my Shinha, and I have my Kokomi. And people will be like, why'd you C6 those of all? I liked the characters, first and foremost. I mean, that's it. There's really nothing else to it, but even that said, even with that amount of hyper investment and monetary investment, there comes a point to where even then you don't feel like you have to log into the game every day. I've never really been one for sunken cost fallacy, and even though I know how much I've put into the game, I don't feel bound to the game. And having been gone from it for a few months, I can now look at it with a different perspective. It's just a game to play on the side. It shouldn't really be considered main game stuff, and that's hard to admit. That's hard to say as someone who from patch 1.0 all the way up through Sumeru wanted this to really just be my main game, but it just really can't be, because the content is drip fed. I mean, you can't make something your main game when the game doesn't have anything for you to main. What are you gonna do, you know? So over the past few months, couple months or so, some things have built up in the game. I barely have any of the Sumeru second desert expansion done. Like, none at all, really. So, I've kind of just let the content build up. And, you know, I said to myself I would come back when I'm ready. Now that Fontaine's coming out, I think I'm ready. But I do have a couple of concerns about Fontaine. I know everybody's like, oh, it's a new region, yay, new region, cool. And that is the most exciting part of Genshin. We've done it twice now. We did it with Inazuma, then we did it with Sumeru. Now we're doing it again with Fontaine, but
take it easy.
I don't know if Fontaine is going to sustain everybody, because it's vastly different. The situation is vastly different than it was with the likes of Inazuma and Sumeru. So, to understand what I mean by that, when we first started this game, all we had was Mondstadt and Liyue, and both of those early regions combined, that was quite a bit of map, that was quite a bit of content, especially when Dragonspine got in the mix. But we'd always heard about this great big world and how there were other nations and Inazumas and Sumerus and Fontaines and Urnatlans and Snezhnayas, and you know, that first year of the game, it sustained itself. It worked. I mean, because first of all, the game was new. We got the islands, the Golden Apple, we got Dragonspine, and plus, like I said, it was new, so all great. It survived the first year. That was cool. Yeah. When Inazuma came around, it was our first real expansion of the map. Like, whole new nation. We're gonna finally see new Archon with the Raiden Shogun, new storyline. It was really the first expansion to the game. So, and that was exciting. Not only that, but if I'm not mistaken, we didn't have any new Electro characters the entire first year of the game. Like, none. And many were saying that that was caused something to do with Raiden Shogun not giving out new visions or whatever. But that was kind of a weird take, because it doesn't matter if the Shogun gives out new visions. There are people in the world already who have those visions, such as the Electro characters we started the game with. Like, you know, Fischl, Razor. You know, those characters are Electro, so it's not like during that first entire year we could not have met a character that had an Electro vision. But that besides the point, whatever the case, took a whole entire year for us to finally get new Electro, so that was exciting. And just having a brand new region, a new country to talk about, that was cool, that was great, that was, you know, fantastic. And Inazuma rode on that hype, especially because it didn't just introduce us one new expansion. It was several different expansions. The islands dropped a couple at a time. We even got Inkonomiya. It was really cool. And so, all that said, it was a brand new experience, our first real expansion. And we were happy with that. That was cool. Then Sumeru came along. And with Sumeru, I mean, we were looking forward to the fact that Sumeru was a new region, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the main draw of Sumeru. The main draw of Sumeru was that finally, after a couple of long years of starting the game, we were finally going to get that final element, Dendro. And that was the main draw for Sumeru. Whereas Inazuma was more about us finally getting an expansion and getting some new Electro characters and all that good stuff. Sumeru was about us simply changing the game itself. The entire game changed, a whole brand new element, which was just game changing in general. And it did change the game. You know, the entire viewpoint of what elements are strong and what elements are weak and the best elements, everything shifted. Not only that, but gameplay, new reactions. It was just really great. Not to mention that it was a new region. That's cool. You can't forget that either. I mean, sure, we had already experienced a new region with Inazuma, but that doesn't mean we still weren't excited to experience a new region with Sumeru. So you add that on top of the fact that we finally had a brand new element, and Sumeru was a pretty decent recipe for success as well. Some people didn't really like the region, but you can't deny the fact that at least the hype for Dendro didn't carry it through. And it has. It has, and it did. And so, you know, hats off to Sumeru for adding a brand new mechanic and something new to the game to sustain us for another year. But now that we're at Fontaine, I'm asking myself the question, what is the game going to bring to us? What's going to be different here? What is it going to bring to us that's brand new compared to anything ever before? Now, I know that we're going to have the underwater exploration stuff, and that's a cool mechanic. That's something we've never done before. But I don't know that that alone is going to really carry all the way through Fontaine, because the entire region is kind of built around that. I think they said in the live stream that Fontaine is supposed to be about 50-50 land and water. So once we really get into the water mechanics of the game, swimming and all that, with us having to do it constantly, I'm just not sure how long that's going to sustain Fontaine. I feel like after a while we're going to get used to it, and then just a couple of months in, the novelty might wear off. I'm really trying to think of something like something big that will sustain Fontaine as a new region. We were riding the waves with Inazuma, with new electro characters finally, and new islands being introduced, and just finally seeing our map expand for the first time. That was enough hype, you know. Sumeru, Dendro, new element, more regions, Dendro characters popping out left and right. Everybody's wanting a Dendro shielder, everybody's wanting a Dendro healer, everybody's wanting a Dendro DPS.
Don't be scared.
I don't know what Fontaine can do different. I don't know that there's any new elements in the works. We have the 7 main elements. I know people are talking about possibility of stuff like, I don't know, whatever Dainsleif is supposed to be. That kind of power or whatever. But I don't know if that's anytime soon, or that might be a ways off, or it might never happen. I'm pretty sure they're going to try to make that guy playable, but who knows when it is, right? But I don't know what to look forward to. Not only that, but now that Dendro is out, we're coming up on a lot of roles, weapons, and element combinations. The roles, the weapons, and element combinations, we're starting to really saturate the field, and I'm worried about the characters now. You had a reason all throughout Sumeru to pull for any of those characters. If you wanted your Dendro applicator, if you wanted your Dendro DPS, or your shielder, or your healer, you had a reason to get them all. But now that that's done with, what are they going to do with the characters? I mean, are we going to just go back to releasing Pyro Archers and Hydro Healers? And what's new about these new characters that are going to be coming out that are going to make me want to replace the old ones I've invested in, other than me liking the character? Which, I mean, that's fine. You like a character, you get a character. That's how you should play this game. But let's be honest, that's just not sustainable for some people, and probably for myself included. I have so much I've put into this game, so many characters I've built. Some are near perfection, I feel like, and I'm sure that there's people out there with better built characters than me, but I know for a fact that mine are way better built than a lot of others as well. So yeah, that's really just what I'm thinking there. Aside from the region being new, which is something we've experienced before, twice now, what are we going to do there? We're going to run around and kill camps, kill mobs, open chests, which is what we've done before just to get more artifact fodder. Just to build up some characters that are just side grades to the ones we've already had. Which, side grade isn't terrible, because you don't really want your old investments to be power crept, right? But at the same time, if your old investments aren't power crept, what incentive do you have for the new ones? It's a question I don't have an answer to. It's a question that I really just don't know. And I think that's the main thing that's worrying me about this is, even if we do keep our attention to Fontaine and keep our attention to this game throughout the entirety of it, what happens when we get to Natlin? Will Natlin finally give us something brand new that we've never seen or done before? Maybe new weapons? You know, new stances? Something to fundamentally change the game or change the feeling of it, like Inazuma did or like Sumeru did, because Fontaine is in a weird spot where nothing is fundamentally going to change. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't know what 4.4 is going to bring. I don't know what 4.6 is going to bring. I don't know, but just looking at the history of this game, this looks like it's going to be the year where everything's in the game and you just play the game. There is nothing new to look forward to. And I don't know, that's just, I wouldn't say it's scary, I wouldn't even say it's worrying, but it is something to keep in mind. It is definitely something to remember and keep in mind, you know. Not only that, but the fact that there isn't much in game means that the attention to the game dies a little bit every day. Just a little bit. And this is talking about me personally. This is not talking about everybody or anything like that, but I've 36 starred the Abyss multiple times. And I just don't know why I want to keep doing that again. I don't know. And I'm sure some would be like, well, see, you don't even play the Abyss anymore, so why would Hoyo bother making more in-game? And it's like, well, the reason I don't play the Abyss anymore is because I've done it a million times. Like something fresh, something new is what I'm kind of looking for. You can do anything a million times, and just because you get bored of doing it, that doesn't mean that you wouldn't do something new. That means you got tired of the thing that you were doing. So, I don't log in anymore to do the Abyss. I don't care to, especially when it's just a few promos. I mean, I'm sure there are some that disagree with that take, but the couple pulls I get out of doing that ain't worth the hassle. It takes 90 pulls maximum to get a character. Dude, I ain't worried about 2-3 pulls, bro. Like, especially when my characters are built again. They are built. I don't know what I'm going to do with new characters anyway. I mean, I'm going to build them, of course, but it's not like I'm needing them. And to that point, I guess what I'm saying is even pulling for new characters is kind of losing its charm a bit. Because the more you have, and the more roles you fill, and the better built your characters become due to endless farming, it's the less you need to pull. I think half of my enjoyment of pulling was pulling knowing that I am now filling out a spot on my team. Oh man, I got this character finally. I have the great hydro applicator I've been wanting, or, you know, finally I have this really good electro DPS I've been needing forever. I got everything now. And now I just don't know what I'm even going to be pulling for. I mean, there are some cool looking Fontaine characters.
You even want this?
But there's nothing I'm looking at that I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna need that. And again, the game could change my mind. You never know. They might come up with some crazy new mechanic and it's like, oh, well, I gotta get that one. You know, I'm sure the Archon is not gonna be skippable. I have every Archon, and I will get every Archon, because Archons just are Archons. They're broken. They kind of function outside the bounds They are the epitome of what their element can do and should be. So I know that the Hydro Archon, she is going to be crazy. But outside of her, I don't know what else I'm going to even be looking forward to. I knew during Sumeru that I was going to be looking forward to every Dendro character. I have Alhaitham and Nahida, you know. I have every Dendro character, I think, except for Tainari, which it's Tainari, so I'm gonna get him eventually, I'm sure, but I don't know what I'm looking forward to here. I'm looking forward to the region. It looks great, don't get me wrong. Looks beautiful. I'm sure swimming is going to be cool, but unless they open up more water across the map, like you can go back and visit areas of Mondstadt or Liyue, and now the water there is also swimmable or something, I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know how it's going to sustain itself, which I think that would be kind of cool if they did that over time. They don't have to do it all at once, but just be like, oh, by the way, the waters of Liyue are now swimmable. That would be something that could sustain people's interest, because now you can go back to areas you've already been at and rediscover them. Imagine that. It would give you a reason to go back to old regions. It's like you're playing them over again. I think that would be cool, but from what I understand, swimming is going to be Fontaine only, so yeah. Don't know what to think there, but hey, I'm sure they'll figure something out, and either way, I'm going to play the game, so I guess we'll just see. We will see how long I stay with it, but I am planning on playing it, and
the wind rises.
Yeah,
Search forth.
I guess that's it. We'll see what happens.